Welcome to the front lines. This is the Premier League on hell let loose, where every match is war, every decision counts, and only the sharpest squads survive. 9 divisions, 57 teams, only on the TPL podcast, produced by Axe Hawk. Real conversations, real perspectives, and the stories that matter. Now, let's welcome your host, Sheepdog.
Hello and welcome to the TPL podcast, episode 2. I am Sheepdog, and alongside me today is a guest that I have wanted to talk to for a long time. Everyone knows the man, the myth, the legend, PC console. It doesn't matter. Helios commander, commentator, content creator, the OG ASMR caster. Please welcome for me, Smithers. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thank you, Sheepdog. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Hello, everybody. Hello.
So obviously, we are in season 2 right now. We are in week 1, leg 1. Leg 2. I'm sorry. I had to confirm that because I think I said it was like, isn't it week 2? But it's technically week 1 because they so many matchups that they have to divide between the different weeks. So, obviously, you were part of a couple casts for the last week, which was division 6 to 9. And there was some pretty good matchups, especially we watched a couple of yours, the SEC versus ZSR matchup. You also did the 2-6 versus SVS match, and it seems to be a lot of back and forth in a lot of these matches too. Like, I'm curious what your thoughts are, especially with that ZSR SCC matchup on Pierce. And I think let me pull it up real quick. It should be on the screen. Yeah, right here. So this is a match that went in favor of ZSR off the rip, and then they lost. Funny enough, I mean, Smithers, how many times have you ever seen like a match where they lost Pierre's farm front door from the Allies? It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's pretty wild.
The big thing for this one was that ZSR took the main truck route in. So they took the main truck route in, and they were able to skirt a truck over to the edge and everything and dodge the opening rounds. They did lose a Puma, but they were able to get a main truck right up the road. And if you're able to take that risk and get that Puma up in there, then you could get straight to the hard cap. Because before, with 49s versus 49s, there's the really high ESPT, they'll take the side route. And it'll take them a long way around.
In the cemetery route, we've seen a lot too. We saw that. We saw that in that Legion versus Taco championship that you casted, which was insane opener. Like it's absolutely like when no squad leaders make it to the point on Pierre's farm.
Except one
squad leader. Yep, absolutely. And we saw this too. We saw this. I'll pull it up as well. We saw this in I believe it was your other match that you did for, I'll leave this up, for last week, and it was on Pierre's farm as well. And we saw you were watching for those snipes, and it was end up already just barely missing on the truck. You're seeing it a lot where you got the trucks that are coming straight up from SMDM, which is pretty wild. I mean, as a commander and a guy who's played like high level comp in the PC world, does that make you cringe a bit when you're watching it? You're just like.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's one of those things where maybe teams are thinking, they'll expect us to, or they know this route is very common, so they're not going to do the AT snipe because they know we're not going to take the route, but we're going to end up trying to take the route. It's kind of like a gamble they could do to see if they're actually going to do the anti-trucks or anti-tank and truck snipe down that road. Both teams, they took the chance. 2-6 barely missed theirs as well. They started firing a little bit too early. They fired maybe 5-6 seconds too early, or else they would have gotten the truck. But because if you watch the stream, 2-6 versus SVS truck driver went over to the left of the road. But yeah, I mean, it makes me cringe, trust me. But I have to go look every single time.
Yeah, I know, dude. I did too, especially after watching that Legion versus Taco match where they got the tank gun kill off of the opener, right off of the magic wall disappearing where they just got it. I mean, like, and it looks like they hit the wall. I wish I could show it, but hits the wall right next to where the trucks start off of the curtain. And I mean, and I think I was looking at it with a shout out to Chippy, who plays for WTH now. We were looking at it. I mean, he found the angle. It's like an 1,800-meter shot from basically left HQ, like right off you build it like right where those trench lines are at. If you're looking for a snipe off the rip, you may want to go back to that match because it's absolutely insane. I'm curious what your thoughts are, and what, as someone who's new to the console world and new to the console metas, especially like we saw it even in some of the week 1 matchups, tank simping is a big thing, and you've been around for a while. You probably were around when that was kind of the meta, because that was the meta that was big in the PC world about 2 years ago. What are your thoughts on it's almost like we're like going back in time a little bit in the Hell Let Loose competitive space.
Yeah, for the console side, you see a lot more tank sipping. On the PC side, teams have adapted to just building lots of repair stations. Repair stations all around the place. They have them in bunkers now and everything. So that's how the PC side has adapted to it. Because a lot of people don't just want to go into the game and play tank sip the whole time. I mean, it's very rare you find a person that wants to do that. So you see a lot more repair stations being built so the tanks back up and they do their thing, as opposed to before where you just had one permanent engineer. But on the console side, definitely see a lot more tank simping.
You do, and it made me wonder that, like, obviously, like, in talking to some of the PC guys, especially like the tankers, they talked about how, like, the reason why there was that transition from tank sipping to the repair station meta was because double taps became a lot more of a focus for the tanking. Yep. And which makes a ton of sense, right? Because it neutralizes the whole point of having 2 or 3. And I've seen 3 engineers on a tank. I just want to clarify, like, I've casted matches where I've seen 3 engineers on tanks and get destroyed too. I just want to point that out too.
Yeah.
But they also put a lot of emphasis on positions, right? And with the graphics in PC being what it is, it makes it really curious that, like, will that ever be a thing in console? Because it seems more like if you have higher graphic settings, then you can play and shoot way farther away than what you see in console. It seems like more emphasis would be put on, like, the mobility of tanks in console, which would mean that, like, having tank simps or engineers on tanks so that they could basically be mobile repair stations. That seems more viable, I guess. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
Yeah, what you find in console from my streams is you don't find as much as that double tapping and tanks really knocking those long range shots. You see a lot more aggressive frontline tank play in the console scene.
yeah.
In the PC side, you definitely see a lot more long range sort of shooting for sure. That's why, I mean, in the console side, you'll often see, at least from my experience, you'll see tank crews doing things that tank crews on the PC side would not do at all. For example, the front pushing with no option to peek around or no back option to kite hedges or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get that little bit of extra vision because they don't have obviously the filters and all that kind of stuff that the PC side does.
Yeah, it's funny because you see it. I'll pull it up here on the stream real quick. You see that in this is the OnlyFans versus 263 match that Awake did, which, by the way, if you're looking for a really entertaining match, this is the one. I think this is my match of the week for sure. I think it's thrilling to watch. Coming down to the wire. Literally, like, they started cap pressure with 10 seconds left in the match. So, but you'll see here, like, this is an angle that you don't see very often in the PC world, like that tiger that's up on the south side, and even, like, you'll see a 76. It's the most. I think it's like 8 minutes left in the match. Let me see. Like literally a 76 and a tiger fighting on that road against each other, which is kind of wild to see. Let's see here. See, that tiger right there is not a typical angle that you see. Let's see here. Yeah, see the 76 literally pushing up in the wheat field right
Oh
here with a
wow.
tiger looking. I mean, like this is crazy. You got guys from from 263 literally like putting a satchel on this tiger. He's literally gonna push right into the sight line. But like this is extremely aggressive. And look, he gets the tiger. I mean, like they're getting plays and they're getting momentum. Obviously, 3 minutes left in the match. Full send, right? But it's so interesting. But I think that like, and I kind of want to transition a little bit into like what makes this is what to me makes things like TPL so exciting. Is you see a lot more of this aggressive play style where it's like not even necessarily you'll see it with high level teams, and I'm curious your thoughts on it because you would have a better idea of the macro level of things, but still playing a good amount of map control, but a lot more focus on playing points of interest, hard cap, that sort of thing, and it leads to a lot more, to me, a lot more exciting gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think when you get down to the lower, Division 5 through 8, I've had the most fun through there. In Division 9, I keep forgetting that there's 9 divisions now because there's
It's
so many teams.
crazy.
Yeah,
I
there's
know.
so many teams. But yeah, so I've had a lot of fun with the Division 9, like the 2-6 versus SVS game was a lot of fun. 30 versus 30. You can't control. Thing is, like you can't control the full map with 30
Right.
versus. You can't, and so that leads a lot of holes, which creates a lot of interesting situations. And as opposed to the PC side, if you have 49 players, and you find a lot on more of the PC side, it's a very stable front line, no gaps or anything. And so the team can respond much more efficiently. But in 30s versus 30s, the team has to have a whole swivel, man. They got to
Yeah,
be able to respond here,
for
there,
real.
everywhere. And it's all, there's so many more rapid relocations of bodies in 30s versus 30s. That's what makes it a lot more interesting. One more thing too is that you can also get on a more personal level with the team because you're not focused on 49, you're focused on 30. And so you can really, get really cool highlights for more players, I think, versus
I
49 was split out. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about, I know that like you've talked about like with Clownface on your podcast about like the future of Hell Let Loose as a competitive sport, and like even like I think you've even talked about like is there any chance of it being professional at all? And one of the things that I've always thought was that whenever you have 49 versus 49 guys and you look at professional like North American sports, for example, you look at football, you look at basketball, like people like watching because they cheer for not just for teams, but they also cheer for individuals.
Yep.
And I think that like that's a really good point that like in 30s, like you may get a little bit more of like you get a player like I'm watching the stream right now, but Sugar Pipe Zero, like another clutch play, like you get to really emphasize and really kind of like follow players, and I think it's more difficult. I think it's hard enough in 30s, nonetheless in 49s to create that type of atmosphere. It still happens, right? But I find often, you tell me if I'm wrong. I find that people tend to focus on players more negatively than they do positively in Hell Let Loose. It's more of like, oh, that dude's a cheater, that dude's a camper, that dude's like just
Yeah, I've
whatever.
seen it all. Yeah.
Instead of we focus on zeros more than heroes, I think more than anything. And which is kind of a shame, right? But
Yeah,
uh,
as far as the stats go, I wish there was. And I've mentioned this multiple times on different streams, but I think the breakthrough for Hell Let Loose to, because what we got to do is we got to do what the NFL did. The NFL was suffering from not having viewership interested in other games, and what changed that was fantasy football. So if we could come up with like a
yeah.
fantasy Hell Let Loose sort of situation, I think that'll be a breakthrough because then it becomes fun for a lot of people to see how certain players are doing on various teams as far as keeping track of, let's say, garrison takedowns, outpost take, all that kind of stuff. You could build a really cool concept, I think, around that.
I think you could too, and I think that like it's so interesting because I remember you talking about that. Like, one of the tough things about Hell Let Loose, especially on PC, not as much on console, because I think console actually remains more stable in this regard. But the amount of player transfers that happen make it very tough to track teams. I mean, nonetheless, to cheer for a team. I mean, it's not like, oh, like Legion's from my hometown, so I'm gonna cheer for Legion. It's not like that at all.
Yeah.
And even in like competitive esports, you get a lot of the same guys, right? Like if I cheer for Optic and COD, like I know that like for the longest time it was the same guys playing for the same team, like 4 guys, and I know that I'm cheering for largely the same people at least. So I have that kind of continuity. When there's no continuity, it's hard to be like, oh, I cheer for this team or that team. Like it's you inevitably bandwagoning, I guess, from one thing to the other. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of like the fantasy aspect, where it's like you become more aware of like who's a good player, who's a player that's like entertaining to you, or like and like you may track them to different teams, like just like you would in the NFL or the NBA or whatever it may be. So that's such a good point.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would it be to just have, I mean, you load up, you see a whole slate of games for TPL over the weekend, and you're adjusting your lineup, and because it's like the NFL, where you have to get notified about who's starting, who's sitting, right? And so teams can get into the habit of publishing their roster and last minute dropouts, and it could be a lot of fun, and really
like an injury report.
Injury report. I mean, teams have to submit their rosters, which they're already building their rosters, obviously, so they could, but I think with that, it could be just create a really good environment for streamers also to get more new viewership. Because what happens most of the time is you're going to get the teams, the people that are on the bench tuning in to watch the stream, obviously. Few outside fans and everything, but the viewership is going to be limited, sort of. But now you blow up your viewership to getting suddenly all these random people tuning in like, oh man, I wonder how Cunny Funt is doing tonight. Oh, the Cunny Funt. He's only got a satchel. All right, that's going to be 20 points on my team.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of names, by the way, I gotta shout out your channel. I came across it too. I'm in PF, so like Pathfinders, and one of the guys in Pathfinders, actually he's in WTH right now playing competitively, but he got so excited because he got his name shouted out in your short of the best names in Hell Let Loose. His was Rectum Ripper, by the way. So, which by the way, I have to say, like, as a caster, there have been many times where I went to go say someone's name and I refuse to say it. Like, I just like, it's too much, dude. Like whenever I see him, I know him. Like, I've played with him. He's such a nice guy. I say Ripper. Like, I can't say it. Like, I can't at all say the name. They're wild, but they're great. People got creative, great names in this game, man. Like,
yeah, trust me, I have so much fun. You just got to remain professional. Be like, okay, we have a lot of Bush coming over here to the right side. He's going to pull out the Panzer Shrek. He's going to go up against Rectum Ripper over here on the right side. Rectum Ripper pulls out his rifle, gets him right in the back. Oh man! And there is who do we have in the back there? What do we have in the back? That is wait, what was that one name? Crap, I'm trying to remember.
I see Chillman Finn on there, or is it Chillman? Yeah, Chillman Finn. I see on my screen right now. Mike Finn. There's a bunch of Finn. Oh, they're running the Finns thing. That's actually kind of cool though. It's like.
There's the yeah, that's right. Obi-Wan can't blow me. That was the other one too.
Obi-Wan can't blow me is wild, dude.
Yeah.
That's that's a lot to say though. Like I have a tough time. I jarble words and stuff just because I go so quick. It's like I've been working on like trying to work on my pronunciations and stuff. And I know like part of that is like as a caster, like slowing down, right? Mm-hmm. Like slowing down a little bit, just like try not to convolute it as much. And I think you do a great job of like really good flow and really good cadence with it.
Thank you.
And like I learned a lot from your streaming, not just streaming, but you've also personally given me a lot of good advice for like prepping for stream. So that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the thing. If anybody if you're starting on Hella Loose and you need streaming, I'm all for. I'm working on actually another video to offer some more streaming advice for everybody. Because if we need another thing in Hella Loose, it's streamers. Because I mean, this is a great game to start off brand new. If you're interested in seeing what the streaming world is like, this is a great game to experiment with. Because
it really is.
We need streamers, man. We need streamers.
We really do. And I think that this is a game that's like, there is a barrier to entry in terms of like learning the game. And like, obviously, like for someone like you or me who has thousands of hours on the game, that took a while to get that game sense. And every now and then you watch a caster. I will say this though, like I can't judge too bad because I watched my very first official cast that I did, which was TL versus Chimera on Dugout. And this would have been like 2.5 years ago. And there was so many things that I just did not understand, did not know at all. But it was thrilling. You know what I mean? You're seeing things that you've never seen before. And like, and not that like Hell Let Loose has gotten less exciting since me learning more about competitive and stuff. But I will say, like, even if you're just starting out, to me, it's just as exciting as it is when you have learned what the strats are and what they mean and all that. This is a really exciting game. This is a thrilling game. Like something like this where they're throwing an airhead and the airhead's freaking clean on the point. Like, and just you're just like, I don't like it could go either way. Um it's so much so that like for my last scoreboards, I've just been showing the relevant 2 points on my scoreboard so that people can see closer, like how close the caps are.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because sometimes they're so close,
Oh
they're
yeah,
so
yeah.
wild,
Yeah.
and you don't even know. Like you'll be like trying to track like at the end, like at the 1 minute mark, like did they get halfway on the cap? Like is the cap even possible at this
Mhm.
point? It's crazy, man. For you, what is Hell Let Loose casting mean for you? Like, I mean, you do 8 streams in a weekend. Like, what gets you up in the morning and being like, yeah, I really want to do 8 Hell Let Loose casts this weekend.
Yeah, so you have to be a little bit insane. I'm not gonna lie. Like you have to be you have to be a little bit you have to be a little bit crazy. But it goes into the whole voice. Like I saw I'm a voice actor in real life, and so I do audiobooks, I do commercials, I do all this stuff during the week, and I use Hell Let Loose streams as sort of my experimental ground to do just to try new things out, try catchphrases. And also now I'm going to be having a lot more. I'll be having a lot more free time to help build out some better pregame presentations, and I really want to figure out how can we turn this game into more than just watching a game, into making it watch like an actual. I mean, because for example, Guderian does a really good job of this. I
yeah.
mean, you've probably seen Guderian's presentations
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff, and yeah, I mean that's awesome. I mean, legit
Legend. He's a
legend,
legend to
man.
me. Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, and then it's there's all these different dynamics, like you with your freaking just over the top wildness energy. Like, what is happening? It's crazy. I watch your streams and I go, God, how does he like maintain that vocal cord?
I don't. I don't. That's the problem. Yeah.
It's just, but it's one of those things where we all have these different skill sets and everything, and we're all trying to make the game better and better from our streaming standpoint as well. And I think there's a lot of untapped potential, and now especially since we have Hell Let Loose Vietnam coming in the future, there's going to
Yeah.
be so many opportunities for building that out. And so for me, just to answer your question, it's the fact that the fan base, the player base is very strong. They're very enthusiastic about their teams, and there's a lot of untapped potential, I feel like, with this. And so to be honest, when I first started doing this, I wasn't too sure where it was going, but now it's like, hey, I got a solid base of people that like my streams and everything, pretty good at it, and it gives me a really good opportunity to practice some stuff as well. And plus the green screen and everything, like doing some acting in front of the green screen.
Sure. I know. I don't have a green screen. I've thought about it every now and then, but I mean, you do. I love what you do with the green screen at the beginning, where you do like your split personality type
Oh
thing,
yeah, yeah.
dude. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, the comment, my favorite comment out of that one was, "Wait a minute, are those two people the same person?"
Dude, what a compliment, dude. Where you're just like, I really did like create this atmosphere where it's two different people. Create this
Yeah,
illusion, or it's two different people. Love it,
yeah.
dude. I love it, man. Really curious. I'm gonna pull up. Can I show it? I may not be able to show it. But let's see here. If you follow along with me, and can get it in the post cut. Looking at let's dive into TPL going into this week. So obviously, we got divisions 1 through 5 this week, and these are like the 49s, the 40s, that sort of thing. And to me, looking at it, like you got 1 cast, I got 2 casts. There's a lot of exciting casts, and I will say this. I was pretty skeptical coming into TPL that they would get enough casters. Like when they told me like, oh, there's gonna be 15 matchups a week, I was like, how the heck are they gonna get 15 casters?
Yeah.
There was like 13 different casters going into, I think 13 or 14 different casters going into this week, which is a shout out to the Hell Let Loose community, especially in console. But looking at it, Are there any matchups to you that that get you excited? Like matchups that you're like, I really want to tune into this matchup.
You're talking about for this week?
Yeah, yeah, for the 40s and the 49s.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So I'm very interested to see what OCL ends up doing. So they're a team out
Mm,
of Brazil.
yeah.
They won the Division Two off-season competitive league. If I still find the name funny, off-season competitive league. But the
Wow, isn't it?
yeah, Division Two championship there, and then they lost against MSU. But they're a really strong team. They have a lot of depth on their roster, so I'm super curious how OCL is going to show up this year in or this season for TPL. So they're going up against GOAT. So it's a good first match, solid first match.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious what potential OCL shows up with. And then, of course, LGN, we have to see if LGN is able to stay consistent. I think they lost a few players, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. I just remember hearing some things. But seeing if LGN is able to maintain that consistency. And then, of course, 22nd, big fan of 22nd.
Yeah.
So I'll be casting
Yeah.
that game, and I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Ironically, I am now in 22nd. Funny
You
enough.
are? Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
because if you're a caster in Hello Loose, you have to join 22nd. It's a requirement. From what
Gotcha.
I understand. Funny enough, you brought up OCL. It's so interesting because this is actually a rematch of a match that they did in that off-season competitive league. It was actually our first console stream that we ever did. And I pulled it up on the stream, but like, OCL
Oh, yeah.
dominated Goat in that match, and that was on PHL, and like, and I just and part of it is like PHL is a tough map. It's a really tough map. Especially like map control, like you really have to know your angles of approach, and like and OCL just did a really good job of grinding them down, playing very disciplined. This was a 5-0 that like took a while to develop, but there was never a point where it felt like OCL was in trouble. And so I'm really curious to see what does GOAT do. Coming back into this, looking at that map specifically, we'll look at it real quick. GOAT versus OCL is going to be on Hill 400, which is a completely different map. It's a completely different map than what they played when they did that offseason competitive league. And I believe that the midpoint for this week is going to be for Hill 400. It is going to be, it's Flak Pit. So it's not actually the hill. It's going to be that north point, which is it's a really interesting point. That I don't know if I've played in 18. I can honestly say I've never seen a Hello Lose competitive match played over Flak Pits. I don't know if you have. I mean, you've seen tons of matches in your time, but
Yeah. Actually, I casted one with. Let me just see who it was. I casted one a couple months ago, and it was a brutal match. There was like 8 caps in that game or something like that. It was over flag puts too. So it was a very. One second. What was it between? It was between. Where is my little thingamajig here? Oh yeah, it was GOAT versus DEC, so another South American team.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a really good back and forth. And yeah, it's the thing about Hill 400 is that the trees just create chaos. I mean, every single
Yeah.
team's going to struggle with that. So many little sneaky spots to move about. Tanks are going to have a hell of a time getting satcheled and having to watch their ass. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's what makes it so interesting though, right? Is like especially because like that there's limitations in the audio in the video for console, which
Mhm.
means that like something on Flak Pits and Hill 400 like is going to be played a lot more closely. You're going to have like guys literally, you're going to run, you go past a tree and there's a dude right behind the tree. You didn't even know he was freaking
Yep.
there, which I don't think is necessarily the case all that much in that high level of competitive for PC, because they have it so refined. So
Mhm.
I'm really curious. I think to me that means it'll be a really competitive match, especially given the fact that OCL really dominated on the tank front when they played on PHL, and that's totally negated on this map. Like that is not at all the case. And so,
Yep.
yeah, really interesting to see. Legion, obviously, coming off of a win against Taco in Summit. Taco, who is just won, I believe are they the ones who won the Winter War League that just finished up? Yeah, so Taco coming off a major championship as well. So both those teams having a lot to prove. We were talking about this before. We'll have to give a shout out to Caparzo and the Insiders podcast and if you go to their Discord, you'll see that they have betting lines for all of the Div 1 teams, and right now Legion leading the way, which I think, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, given the fact that Taco was the one who won the initial season 1 Div 1, I believe, for TPL. So which is nice to see a back and forth, right? It's not just one team that's just absolutely dominating. It's not this dynasty type thing. And I'm really curious about teams like Exodus and Mert going into this as well, to see if they have a competitive shot in Div 1 as well. Are there any teams in that Div 1 slot that you think have any shot of dethroning Taco or Legion?
Yeah, I think sixth. I mean, because I casted the sixth versus Taco match on Herc and Forest. I mean, that match was on Siegfried line, and it was really close. I mean, six was honestly, if there were a few adjustments away from winning that match, they had
Wow.
they prepped for that point really, really well. They had their tanks with some amazing supportive fire on Siegfried line. They just had a few little things that bit them as far as backline coverage and a few other things. But if they would have done that, I think they would have faced LGN in the championship. I mean, they were
Yeah.
really, really freaking close.
Really
So sixth
close.
to be,
Yeah.
yeah. So sixth, I think, is a very strong contender to be up there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see how they do in week 1. They'll be going up against Merc, which I think is going to be a really good. That's going to be a really good one. That's going to be casted by Sassy Anna and Hot Dog 7. And that will be on I believe, that'll be on Karitan, which is a really good proving ground, I think, for two teams that are looking to promote their way up in Div 1 as well. So really excited about that. Yeah, man. I'm really curious about like 9PZ versus TFMC. I think that's going to be a really phenomenal match. 9PZ is come out and especially in some of these friendlies performed really well against high level teams like Div 1 teams even. And they did really good in the Winter War League as well. I mean, there were times where they went up against like a team like Rofs and they just absolutely dominated on Karitan. So I believe Grey Hat was the guy who casted that. So shout out to Grey Hat. But I'm really curious to see how that goes. So let's talk about TPL as a whole. So obviously, as far as I know, this is twice as many teams as the biggest competitive tournament in the PC world for Hell Let Loose. Huge. It's absolutely huge. And it's bonkers to think that like you can get 58 teams of 35s, nonetheless, to include 40s and 49s as well. Do you think it's too much? Do you think that the divisions are too much? It's too much to keep up with? Do you think it's great to have that many teams and that many divisions? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic to have that many teams. Just because, I mean, if you take an example of like the team that I've been casted a lot of is 2-6, and so they've improved a lot since their first games. But Division 9 allows them an environment to have a solid chance against the teams they're facing while still still improving. And plus, they're not a team that can field more than up to the 40s yet. They're just not there. And a lot of the teams start off that same way. And so it gives a lot of different teams, a lot of different players chances to dip their toes in the competitive scene and work their way up. So I think that's fantastic to see. I think that really is. And as far as if I think it's too much, the only thing I'm worried, as you are, with the amount of streamers available, that's where I get a little bit sort of like, damn. But that's where I think us as streamers have to encourage teams to choose just unoriginal times. For example, Sunday at 1 p.m. EST. I mean, that's going to be the most popular game time, or 2 p.m. EST, whatever it may be, in competitive Hell Let Loose. So I think in order to get more games casted, like I always tell teams, just try to choose a little bit maybe 4 p.m. EST, 11
Yeah.
a.m. EST or something like that, just to
Yeah.
keep your games have
So, and,
opportunity.
and spread out those times too, right? Because
Exactly.
then it allows you and me opportunities to maybe cast multiple matches as well, if that needs to happen. Which I think they did a really good job this week of doing that. Because I mean, there were times from my time zone from Eastern time zone 3 to 9 p.m. There were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches spread out between all those time periods. So, which is really nice as well. So yeah, it's really interesting that they have that many teams. And as a guy coming in from the PC world, it's been I feel like every stream I'm going to do with this podcast, I'm going to have to apologize because I'm still learning all these different teams and all these because it's like when you've casted for a while, you build up this like database of like matches that you've seen and casted, and you're like you refer back and you're like, man, I remember that really exciting match on Dugout where like Airhead in the backside, Broken Arrow versus um IR or something like that. I'm just throwing it out there. No one in the console world is gonna know who those teams are, but it's tough learning the teams and the players, but it's exciting too because it's just completely new, and it's just and I have to give a shout out to you too because you're the person who's made the inroads for me to cast in the console world. So I think that like I don't know if you necessarily get enough credit for being a guy who's helped bridge that gap between the PC world and the console world, because I think that gap for a long time was like people in the PC world knew nothing about console, and the people in the console world knew nothing about the PC world. It was just two entirely different worlds that had no intersection at all.
Yeah, I think funny enough, I think it was Caparzo. I think it was combination of Caparzo and Axhawk. And maybe Axhawk, you introduced me to Caparzo. I remember one of Caparzo's first messages to me. He's like, "Hey man, if you're interested in going into the console scene, just so you know, we got a pretty good viewer base." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "All right, man, dude, I'll do it. Let me get a PS5 and whatever." So I bought the PS5 and. Shout out to Caparzo. He helped me set up everything pretty much. And then the Axhawk here helped me set up the NVIDIA broadcast and various other things. And I was rocking and rolling. So the rest is
Yeah.
history. But it's been so much fun. Just, yeah, I mean, you're totally right with learning the new, like, who's the ESPT of the console? Who's the gray? Who's the greyhound? Right.
Right.
That's. And I remember casting some of those first matches, and I was just approaching it like, okay, this is an even match. Meanwhile, in the background, people are like, oh, they're gonna get smoked.
Yeah,
So
I know.
yeah.
I felt so bad because when I'm in Pathfinders, and so in Pathfinders they part of the reason I made that switch was because there were a bunch of guys from Legion who were going over the Pathfinders, so from the console to the PC world, and so there would be guys and like I'd be like, oh, there's all these casts, and I'd be like, what's your thoughts on this match? And they're like, it's gonna be a steamroll, and I'm like, well, what about this match? Like, it's gonna be a steamroll, and I'm like I got give me something and a part of me was like, you know what? I'm not listening to anyone. I'm just gonna sign up for whatever because I'm not gonna worry about like, oh, is this gonna be a good match? It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And I think I've been very I don't know about your experience, but for me, it's been amazing. Like I think back to like I casted 3-5 versus Roths for the Valley final, and it was it's in my top 3 and potentially number 1 cast of all time that I've ever
Oh,
done.
really?
And
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
it is for me. Yeah, because it was just thrilling. Like, and it's this back and forth thing that I don't really see in PC anymore, where it's just like where you see like long shots that are thrown that actually like somewhat work, where you got like airheads that are coming up literally on the hard cap within the last 4 minutes or so, and but because of the audio being what
Yeah.
it is, it's possible. Like it's
Yeah.
possible that it worked, and you're just like, as a PC guy who's been in that space, you're like, that will never work. Like I don't know why they're throwing that, and then you're like, it's somehow still working. It's still, I don't understand, but it's still going, and
Yeah.
it's thrilling to me. It's so fun to watch, and I think, and I don't want to talk bad about the PC side, but I gotta say, like, I think the console side is more exciting. I really do. And TPL is the cream of this,
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, console side, I've had probably the most fun on the console side for sure. I mean, it's just been, I think the most there was a game between 75th and Ranger Regiment and 101st Airborne. I think that game holds my record number of captures. I think they got up to 9 captures or 10
Oh my
maybe throughout their whole
gosh.
game. That's probably the most, yeah, the biggest as far as history goes. 101st versus 75th on it was on Omaha Beach. It was I still have to make that's one thing I'm doing, getting through all my I'm now going through all my previous games doing the highlight reels. But
Yes.
when I get to that one, I'm gonna work on a special video for that one because that was crazy. That was yeah, or 101st, I believe, had their 4th point capped on Omaha twice, and they were the Allies.
That's insane.
Yeah, yeah. So they had it was a wild game. Yeah, wild game.
Let's talk about that real quick. Like, so obviously the cat flips, right? Like that's a big thing as well. But I think that like for me, like, and as a caster, like one of the most exciting things is like a good old fashioned rocket snipe, right? And we're seeing like almost what it seems to me at least to be this like golden age of rocket snipes, where like like for once in their lives, console has the ability to go into a server and see if these rocket snipes work, right?
Mhm.
And so like, and now you see like I even have it on the screen where this is that the match that we referenced earlier, that Taco versus Legion match, where like you're seeing like, and this one right here, that's Puma, that's a
Yeah.
a Puma snipe, as well. But it's this type of creativity that like I was showing guys in the who are high level PC who had no idea that this was a possible snipe, and these guys are figuring it out, and like um to me it's like I almost am like with the PC side, I'm like, man, like maybe take some notes on the console side as well, because like I mean this dude had no idea about that Puma snipe at all, and like but like you can get the trucks that are going straight into the hard cap, and I was asking, I was like, is that part of your truck route? And they're like, yeah, like that's part of our truck route. And so it's kind of as a commander, like have you been bringing anything from the console side that you've seen into the PC side? Like it been like, hey, like I saw this, and like this, maybe this is something that we consider, or
Yeah, there's been a few things. I mean, one thing I heard about the console side. That's when I first heard about the what was it on something on crap, I can't remember. There was something on SME when it came to checkpoint and a snipe on there, but there was something on there that I brought over that I learned when I was streaming a match. I was like, no way, you can't snipe that truck, and they sniped it. So I quickly looked at my map and tried to figure out that one out. But yeah, there's definitely some small things on there where it's like, hey, wow. I mean, of course, the PC side is always like, oh, we could beat the crap out of any console team, but which is,
yeah,
I mean, it's most likely true just because of the graphic settings and everything like that, and how much more in detail you can get on the PC side versus console side. But
yeah.
for sure, console side, super super exciting and everything. And I'm happy to be a part of it.
It's so funny because like I've had multiple people, like as I've talked to them on the PC side, say like I think I want to get into console. Like they're like watching, they're like hear about it, and I'll shout him out. Foxhole Norman was a guy who was like,
Oh, he was. Okay.
he was like, should I buy a console? And I was like, that's up to you, man. Like
Yeah.
but I think there's some legit interest, and I think part of it is that like they're in this golden age, right? Like they're in this golden age of competitive where people, yeah, I know, right? I don't know, yeah, I don't, bro. I know 22nd was like, bro, you gotta play, and I'm like, I still have not played a single match on
Yeah,
console.
yeah.
You haven't played either, have you? You haven't played it. Have you
No,
played any? That's
I'm
so
I'm
funny, dude.
yeah, I'm level 61 though, so
Just from casting?
just from casting.
That's
Just from
wild, dude.
casting.
That's
Just
wild.
from
I know.
casting.
All my levels are just from casting for sure.
Yeah.
But gosh, man, yeah. I think it's so interesting that I think console is in such a good place. One thing that have really excited me that like I've really been struggling with PC, and I think this is a good discussion for TPL as a whole, is a lot more of non-meta maps are being picked, versus in PC. Like there's been times where it's like, are we really doing Karantan again? Like we doing Karantan again? And like literally, like I signed up for a match this week solely because it was on Elsenborn. I'm not gonna lie. Like if like but it's so interesting because you see things like Kursk, you see things like Stalingrad, you see things like Elsenborn, and even Tobruk has been picked in the past for maps that you don't see in the PC side at all. I mean, I, I'm curious, not just your perspective as a player, but as a caster as well. Your thoughts on the utilization of non-meta maps, and even as a strategy in these console leagues, like where that plays in your mind.
I mean, it definitely offers something to look forward to besides the typical, the meta. I mean, it's nice to see that variety. I mean, it also offers the opportunity to create new moments and new types of highlights that we don't usually get to see, especially with the dynamic weather now on maps like Tobruk and El Alamein and that kind of thing, where you see those desert sandstorms, and you see the console teams learning to take advantage of that kind of stuff with airheads when the sandstorm starts to pick up. And then they're able to sneak behind the enemy lines and that sort of thing. Tanks push up when it's sandstorms are getting a little bit thicker, so that's good to see. And I like the console side for exactly the same reasons as you do too, for the picking of those non-meta maps.
It thrills me, dude. If I get a chance to cast Elsenborn, I'll be thrilled. I'll be absolutely thrilled. And I'm curious to see, like, will Stalingrad be picked more with the new update? I know that, like, in the PC side, and I don't know if it's necessarily true on the console side, there's such a stigma against Stalingrad that it makes it very difficult for me to believe that would be a map that's picked more often. Although I love the changes that they made, even though I know there were tons of complaints from, like, some of the higher level players when they played in the PTE events and stuff related to the new Stalingrad map. But obviously that was still a PTE, and that's part of the whole thing, right? You try to figure out what's wrong and fix it, all the bugs and all that. So really curious about that, and in the new map that's coming out as well, Smolunks is something that's been recently been put out there as a new map. It looks very much like it's maybe the most CQB oriented urban map that we've seen in Hell Let Loose, especially as a Soviet map. So is that something that excites you, both from a casting and from a player perspective?
Yeah, I'm always interested in new environments. I mean, if there's something to shake everything out, especially with urban maps and just the amount of areas to shake up the line. I mean, you're not going to see in standard map, SMDM, you develop that line, your hedgerows, all that kind of stuff, as opposed to urban maps where it keeps everything sort of, oh, wow, he snuck by, he's got his OP in the back line, he's going to wipe out this chunk, and it creates a bunch of chaos. I mean, the same chaos that you see when it's 30 versus 30 and the map is town center or something like that. There's so many different places to go around. So yeah, always a big fan for those big urban maps. I think that really adds a nice dynamic.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that for sure. Yeah, and I know, like, there's a stigma against Elsenborn, but to me, like, I love the idea of for the issue with Foy for so long, which Foy is, by the way, a map that's picked in console that is never picked in PC anymore, which is so interesting. But, like, something like Elsenborn is like it's Foy, but then they have these geographical changes that allow for a more dynamic armor combat. I think the issue that people have with something like Elsenborn is, like, the it's still pretty open at times, and so, like, you're still fighting in micro terrain basically and trying to maneuver across large spaces of area. But I don't know, it's I think just something new excites me more than anything, and so it's really looking forward to some of the map picks that they do in console. But I think that's gonna be it for this episode of the TPL podcast. Smithers, dude, love this. Your insights, your views, your contribution to the game is unmatched, dude. So
thank you.
I really appreciate you joining, and thank you to everyone who's watched it. Be sure to check out Smithers if you haven't given him a follow or a subscribe on his YouTube or any of the other platforms that he's on. Please go check out. He's got some of the best content in the game. His shorts are unmatched when it comes to Hell Let Loose, and he puts a ton of time and a ton of effort into it. It's amazing. And of course, you can catch any one of his 20 streams that he does in a weekend I think he said I have to say, dude, we were talking before the stream, and I was like, I saw that you're only doing one TPL match. To me, I like was looking at it, I was like, man, like I'm doing more streams than Smithers. He goes, oh no, I got like 7 more after other than the TPL one, and my heart was shattered in that moment. But I don't got the energy, dude. I do not. I don't have the. I just don't got it in me to do 8 streams in a weekend. But I think that just speaks to who you are as a caster and as a personality. So we will be putting the link to all of Smithers' stuff in the description for this video. So be sure to check it out. And thank you so much to everyone who's watched this. And be sure to check out TPL Week 1, Leg 2, the 40 versus 49 matches as well. We got guys like Hot Dog 7, Caparzo, Madeira, Awake, Night Falcon, Lads Let Loose is going to be streaming again. And I'll give a shout out as well, because I know that it's probably going to come out sometime on Friday night. Be sure to check out the Hell Let Loose Insiders podcast with Caparzo and his crew. And I know that Awake has been doing his power rankings, which has been awesome to watch. If you haven't got a chance to look at it, it gives you a really good idea of kind of the power rankings of TPL, which I think that's a great sports thing to do as well, that we were talking about earlier. So I think that's a great addition as well. So thank you so much, and listen to this podcast and have a great day.
Where players become legends, and every round is a war zone. Steel, strategy, survival. The grind don't stop and the fire don't fade. Step up or